It's fascinating how the human spirit can bounce back from almost anything. And I've read some stories about people who have been through some unimaginable hardships. I mean, and they literally come out on the other side, not just surviving, but literally thriving. It's like life throws them a curveball just to test to see how far it can stretch their resilience. And speaking of resilience, this young man right here, he goes to sleep with a dream, wakes up with a purpose when most people would have given up a long time ago. Um, he is the epitome of human strength. And not only that, he's from the south side of Chicago. Ladies and gentlemen, Joshua Dixon, how you doing, man?
Man, I'm doing great, and thank you so much. I mean, I think that was that best intro that I've ever been given. So I
Oh,
really appreciate that Chicago love. I felt that right there.
I almost felt like I didn't have enough words. But let me say something. I know so many people come at you at different directions, just to have a conversation and or interview. How is it that you wake up every morning and still able to pour into other people's lives?
It wasn't until like really young, having the accident, being mauled by pit bulls when I was 8 years old.
Mhm.
I've always, before even the accident, after the accident, I've always cared about others. Even when I was going through something, or I was hurt, or growing up in a domestic violence household where there was a lot of abuse occurring, I've always just wanted to help. I've always wanted to just help someone or share my food with my brother if he wanted something. Like being able, I've always been that kind of person. So when the accident happened to me, it was a lot of figuring out how to kind of being forced to kind of grow up a lot faster than I needed to, because there's a lot of maturity that comes with having to take a lot of those surgeries that I had to undergo. But it's also that I realized that through the pain that I was going through the tears that I've had, I've been able to use those tears to help other people and to be able to, I call it using tears to grow roses and grow
Mhm.
those and give those roses to the next person. And in that response of having a conversation that we're not having enough of, being able to just pour, it helps me heal. It helps me find purpose. It helps me not want to have a suicide attempt, where it helps me from self-harming. It keeps me motivated and it gives me purpose. I have a lot of sleepless nights because of my PTSD,
Mhm.
but doing what I'm doing and being an impact to this world, helping create better conversations regarding ableism, regarding disability, regarding suicide, regarding mental health, regarding being a young black male from Chicago, and how people look down on how they racially profile me as a Chicagoan, and then also having the facial impairments. So
Right.
there's many layers to that onion that I'm always peeling, and in that peeling, in letting myself be openly vulnerable, letting vulnerability be a strength for me, keeps me alive. It keeps me feeling. Feeling is healing, so it keeps my emotions intact. I'm able to feel my emotions rather than using substances to feel emotions. By talking, by communicating, by being truthfully, even if the environment is safe for me to be truthful or not safe, that catharticism that I'm feeling, like it keeps me going. And I've always seen a positive reaction. I've always heard stories from years later how someone saw me in the hospital
Mhm.
like several years ago, and that motivated them to do something totally different later down the road. So that motivates me to know that, like, even though I'm such a small person, because of what I've been through and because the gift that God gave me to use my tears to give purpose to others allows me to get a lot of that purpose back, and
I
that
love it.
keeps the engine going, keeps the engine going.
We live in a world where people are vain. They want to change a lot of themselves for no reason. There's some people that have to, and there's some things medically why it makes sense. But there's some people that just aren't happy with themselves, right? For me, I got this scar on my forehead from when I was a kid, and I first learned how to ride a bike at 5 years old. Right here, I got a scar from playing baseball with stones. Right there, if you can see that one, that's when I first learned how to do gymnastics in the grass, and I hit my face on a piece of glass on Garfield Boulevard. Here, my brother threw down the garbage because I was too lazy to go back up and down to pick it up, and my nose was broken. I was left with this scar as well. I'm okay with me. I'm okay with the version I've been because I've been this person most of my life. Some people can't accept the new norm when they've gone through something. How is it so easy for you?
It took a long time to adjust, because having the surgeries that I've had, you often go to sleep with one face and you wake up with a whole another one.
Mm,
And you look in the mirror constantly, you don't really know who you are.
right.
And it's this understanding that this is kind of my new reality, and this new reality is gonna always keep shifting, and that life is gonna move on with or without me. So I have to kind of get used to this and kind of learn how to take care of this because this will be an issue going forward. Like if I
Right.
spent the years being desensitized to the way that I looked, then maybe I wouldn't be such a positive person that I am. Even though I still have rough days, I still battle with depression and
Mhm.
anxiety, and I still have some body dysphoria because of all of the surgeries, because of the way people treat me. It's spending those unconditional moments with yourself that may be uncomfortable, but it allows you to be open to loving, like to being able to love those parts of yourself, being like, hey, this is a scar. This experience hurt. This experience caused a lot of trauma, but this experience is me. There's no one who can do this but me. I went through this and I made it out, and it might have not a lot of people would have made it out of that experience. So I definitely take it with honor. And even I've had this conversation with there's a lot of Christian people who always tell me like, oh, hey, just know like whenever you die and you make it to heaven, God's gonna make you over brand new. And
Mm,
I've always said that like when I go to heaven, I want to be the same way that I left.
I love it.
I wanna take I've worked so hard in this body the way that God gave it to me, like after having all of these surgeries. I feel like to honor that going forward, I don't want to be made new when I go to my next life. I want to
Right.
keep this same because this I worked hard for this. I worked hard for this, and I love every second of it. And if you take this, if you take my scars away from me, if you take these skin grafts away from me, then I have nothing to share. There's no
Yeah.
evidence of what I've done. There's no evidence of the 15 years of hard work, battling everything that I went through, going from being assaulted in public or having people throw stuff at me because of the way that I looked, or being
Mm,
shammed into a locker when I was in high school, getting death threats from kids that I didn't know, getting Photoshop memes, people taking photos of me when I wasn't and that I didn't know, photoshopping them, passing them around in the group chat. I've worked so hard to get beyond that and to use all of that negativity and turn it to something else. I don't want no one to take my scars away from me. I've owned these now.
wow. So let me know if I'm hearing this right, because I could just be hearing things. I believe you're saying to me that something didn't happen to you, it actually happened for you.
Yeah.
Yeah. Am
Yeah.
I incorrect by saying that?
No, no, you're absolutely correct. Like people always ask, if you had one wish, you would just change the accident, right? I'm like, no, I wouldn't change it. I probably would like add more mental health to like being in counseling more often when I was going through all of the surgeries. I would do something different, or maybe I'll use that wish on someone else. But in terms of changing the accident, I wouldn't do that. I feel like my life is better now than it would have been if my family didn't have that change.
Right.
Like I have a lot of cousins who are the same generation, like first generation cousins. I have my brother. They've been in trouble with the law. They've been in trouble with maintaining dreams and maintaining goals. I feel like I would have been just like that, and I've always looked up to my brother. So I
Right.
would have been just like him. I probably would have fell into the same things as him. Probably would have a lot of tattoos that probably wouldn't be like I would have fell into that same Chicago like the South Side lifestyle
Mhm.
that many of us black men get consumed by. It's not that we choosing it by choices that we get thrown into it because of the accident. Being
Yeah.
not able to really hang out with kids because of I can get infections from them.
Mhm.
My mom motivating me. I spent 5 years of the five first years of the accident. I spent them at homeschool. I
Right.
sat at the kitchen table for hours every single day reading books. Then I eventually went to high school. I went to Gwendolyn Brooks College Preparatory Academy, and then I learned that I can use art to talk about things. I can use photography to talk about things that I necessarily didn't have the words for.
Mhm.
And then being able to share stories with others. I've met probably over several, maybe a few dozen thousands of people so far, and being able to connect with their lives. If I changed all of that, I wouldn't have met those awesome people. They wouldn't have changed. They wouldn't have had the moment to change me. I wouldn't have the moment to change them, and I value that so much. Like I value that beyond life itself is those connections that I've made over the past almost 16 years. So I wouldn't take any of it back. I wouldn't take the 61 surgeries back. I wouldn't take the thousands of staples and stitches that I've endured. I would do it all over again if I had to. I would hope not to, but that's just it, you know.
Joshua, so you're kind of a big deal. Like people really look up to you, they respect you, and with this position, there comes a lot of responsibility. Have you met someone that totally changed your life? Then you felt like they needed you more than you needed them.
When I first started at Admira, where I would say there was a few months in, I had made this custom cut and sew hoodie. It looks I don't sell a lot of it because it looks bland, but really the
Okay.
secret is in the sleeves. In the
Mm,
sleeves, there's affirmations. There's affirmations when you flip over your sleeve, there's affirmations. So when you turn your wrist over to potentially harm yourself, or if you're trying to be in secrecy, you
mhm.
flip over your sleeves and now you have access to 10 different affirmations, like on each sleeve. I think it's total 10 affirmations. And there's affirmations hidden on the inside of the hood instead of the outside.
Mhm.
And there's a young gentleman in the southern part of America who bought this particular hoodie who was struggling with mental health.
Right.
And this particular time, I was up at like 4 a.m. just like chilling on my phone, and I got a message request.
Mhm.
This gentleman was about to take his life that night.
Oh,
And
wow.
he forgot he didn't realize that he was wearing my hoodie when he was attempting to cut his own wrist and to pass away that night. So when he turned his wrist over to harm himself, he saw the affirmations. And the affirmations made him roll his sleeve back up, roll his sleeve back down, and he ended up crying himself to sleep. And he woke up early that morning to text me and tell me thank you for saving his life. With just the simplest things with that hoodie, with having the affirmation on the sleeve, he was about to take his life that night because he didn't realize that he was wearing that hoodie when he flipped it over to have that act to take himself out. He ended up being met with the love, knowing that he deserves to be here. He deserves another chance. He deserves to not give up. And that story forever sticks with me. I think that story undeniably I think about first each and every time I think about why I do what I do is to keep having moments like that I wish that I had when I was 16 and I was suicidal and going through everything that I was going through. I didn't have access the way that I'm creating messages of hope, love, and purpose. I didn't have access to that at 16, and I feel like without my mom being on my butt all the time, I probably wouldn't be alive today. So she was on me and made sure I stayed in counseling, made sure I bettered my mental health. She made sure she checked in with me and made sure that I had a safe environment at home so I could protect myself mentally.
Right.
And with going through the notoriety now, with a lot of people knowing who I am, with getting a lot of messages, a lot of emails, having communicating with people all around the world, it does get a little overwhelming sometimes, but I enjoy it. I enjoy it because it helps me not feel alone. It helps a lot of other people not feel alone. People who have facial impairments or who have body dysphoria themselves, help them not feel alone. It helps them know that someone around the world is fighting for them and fighting for the same things that they believe in. And the way I balance it out is I just limit my screen time sometimes. Like I have a rule where I can't look at my phone 2 hours before I go to sleep.
Mm.
uh limit my screen time on the weekends. Like on the
Mhm.
weekends I could surf the web, go on TikTok, look at random videos, but try not to respond to people on the weekends unless it's an emergency.
Right.
If it's an emergency, then I'll reply to someone, but if it's not an emergency, try to just limit that so I can have a lot more time back to myself, because I used to get so involved in just replying to everything, replying to hundreds of messages a day, and being really burnt out by it. But having those healthy boundaries between me, my community, and those outside of my community helps me keep the cup full or the cup half full throughout the day.
Yeah. I love the fact that you set limitations for your life, and I love it even more that you boldly go on social media where some people would hide because of the world's assumption of what beauty is.
Hmm.
For you, has it been? Is it therapy for you to kind of go out there for people? And what do you say to people that are hiding from the world, that are afraid to put themselves out there and share their story? What do you say to
It
them?
it's hard to be on social media. I mean, I get some bullying in my comment sections. I get some messages and some emails here and there, but I spent a lot of years hiding. The
Hmm.
first maybe between the ages of 8 years old to I was 17, I was hiding. I would wear all in high school. I wore hoodies. It would be 90 degrees outside. You would see me with a hoodie with my head with the hood over my head, trying to hide myself because I've realized that it's like okay, the less that people see of me, the more that I can kind of vanish in plain sight, and I
Mm,
don't have to deal with the ridicule and the hate and the bullying that I'm going through that I'm experiencing from old elderly people, from kids, from adults, from everyone that I was just experiencing it by. Like I
right.
didn't know how to deal with it. So hiding in a hoodie it kept me alive, it kept me safe. And so for those who are struggling with body images or struggling with how society, especially American society, has built the structure around beauty, is knowing that like if you're someone who has to wear a hoodie to hide yourself, it's okay for the meantime, but just know that it does get better. That like with time plus care, plus individualized care, I like to focus on that. That it does get better because I've always heard that time heals all wounds. I have disagree with that. Feel like you could spend 10 years and live life a certain kind of way. You might be the same way you were when that 10 years first started. But if you spend the 10 years putting in that actual work, putting in the care that works best for you to help you get outside of your comfort zone, because not everything is going to work for everyone. But if you find that one thing that works for you that helps you get outside of your comfort zone, 10 years later, you're going to be a whole new set of bundle of roses or a whole new person.
Right.
You're going to be on the sunrise,
Right.
and life is hard majority of the time. Social media makes it seem like life should be great 24/7. That when you go to sleep, life is beautiful. When you wake up, life is beautiful. That like when you wake up in the morning, you turn on your camera, that you automatically look flawless. Not everybody has that reality, but maybe 1% or 10% of the world is gifted in that realm. But not a lot of people have that, and a lot of people feed on the way social media portrays beauty. So me having myself going out there and being raw and being the way that I am not only helps me feel comfortable because I built a safe community around who I am, but it also helps other people know that like, hey, I de- I love who I am because I am who I am, and I deserve to be in this world just as who I am. Like never, always tell people never stop being who you are. Like it's okay to change, it's okay to evolve. Everyone should change, everyone should evolve, but change and evolve for yourself, and don't change and evolve because others want you to, because you will hate yourself in the long run.
Yeah.
Because you're gonna lose who you are.
That's
But
right.
if you stay true to that image, you stay true to who you are, you will grow, you will blossom. There will be moments where you're wilting, where you're sick, where you might want to give up, where life is really hard. Like I lost two relatives within 70 days of each other. Two
Yeah.
really close relatives. That hit me really hard this year.
Mm,
2023 might be a really might be one of the worst years that I had,
wow.
but it doesn't stop me from believing that maybe 2022, 2024, 2025, or maybe 2030 is going to be a year where the sunshine comes out mentally and where I'm feeling my best self again. And
Yeah.
that knowing that that exists if I work for it, that can exist, that can happen someday where the sunshine might shine on me.
I am wow, I mean, you're really incredible, and I gotta say, I'm honored that you even took the time out to talk to me because I know you have to be very careful with whom you pick and choose to have a conversation with. How important is community to you?
It's really important. Like wounds, physical wounds heal fast, or
Hmm.
maybe mine just heals fast. But
Right.
there's a lot of mental wounds that are always that are caused, and they take years to heal.
Right.
I mean, it takes years to get through what you might have gone through, and having community is really important, but also understanding that like there's this whole South side or kind of like saying that we have in Black hole families that like
Mm-hmm.
blood is everything and blood is thicker than water. So don't really be bothered with anyone who's outside of your bloodline. It's I like that saying, but I also don't like it because family could be the first person to hurt you.
Yeah.
Family could be the first person to tell you that you're ugly, tell you that you're fat, tell you that you don't look great in that outfit. They're the first person to go at your self esteem. They're the first person that can attack your healing journey. They can attack you when you're doing great, and they can attack you when you're doing bad. But knowing that there's 8 billion people in this world, I think it's just said that we hit 8 billion people in this world.
Mm-hmm.
That means that there's potentially 10 people out there for you. If there's 10 people that don't like you and they're around you right now, that doesn't stop there from being 10 other people who maybe scattered around the world, maybe in a different city or in a different state. But because of how connected we are, we often feel disconnected. But if we put ourselves out there a little bit and try our best, like each, if you give 120% of of the 20% capacity that you feel today, that goes a long way, and that can help you be around a people who might not be related to you, but those people will support you, who will be there for you. They will cheer you on when you're on your pedestal, when you're on your trophy top getting your awards and your acolytes, and they'll be there for you when you feel like you're on your deathbed.
Yeah.
And having those people around me has always helped me. Like my hospital staff is really great. They're like family to me. I love them. We always crack jokes. We do everything as a team. I make the like I was signing my name for my for my surgeries at 8 years old under my mom's name. Like my mom would sign her name, and then I would sign my name. I felt a part of the process. That feeling a part of all of those surgeries and having the conversations with my surgeon, like he would dump down all of the terms for me so I can understand. And I felt more comfortable. I felt more safe. I felt more protected by these strangers that have a play in life and death of my life.
Yeah.
And even as an adult, I pick and choose who's in my closest circle. And those people who are in my closest circle, I've been friends with them. I've been around them for almost a decade now, or even some of them are relatively new. They don't have no blood ties to me, but they make me better. And I
Yeah.
make them better. And when I'm down and when I'm depressed, or when I'm having suicidal thoughts, I call them and I'm like, hey, I'm not doing well right now. And we sit and talk on the phone about life for like a couple of hours or so. And they make me great. I wouldn't be who I am if it wasn't for me choosing to love people outside of my bloodline and understanding that there is people out there who will love and support me if I'm in a space currently that's full of people who they're only against me and not for me.
Yeah. You sound like an empath like me, man. It's like
Yeah.
I always find the good in the ugliest people.
Yes.
Have you ever seen the movie Catch Me If You Can? It's a captivating movie about a young man by the name of Frank Abagnale, portrayed by Leonardo DiCaprio. And as a teenager, Frank runs away from home and he takes on multiple identities. He becomes a lawyer, a doctor, an airline pilot, and he masterfully forges checks, amassing millions of dollars while evading the FBI. But when you peel back the layers of this chase, at the core of it, it's a story of a young boy running from the pain of his parents' divorce. Like he was lost seeking love and validation in all the wrong places. So that's why I say when someone does something wrong, there's always a why.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely am that kind of person. I always one of my friends, he gets on me time to time because he's like, man, you shouldn't invest your time into that person. But
Yeah.
I always say like, um, I'm a secretly like faithful guy, and I believe in what Jesus said in the book of Matthew is saying that love thy neighbor like I love you.
Mhm.
And I think if he loves me unconditionally, I should love the next person. I don't hate anyone. I don't hate the men that let my dad temporarily own his dog so that
Mhm.
my dad can make some money off of making these puppies, because it was a deal that the guy had with my dad so that my dad can make some money so he can help us out. And that dog was a former underground pit bull fighting dog.
Right.
And if it wasn't for that, if it wasn't for that guy's poor judgment, and also my dad trying to do what he could do to help us, and he thought little of it. He really trusted his instincts that nothing was going to happen.
Right.
Ultimately, I lost 80% of my face in a matter of
Mhm.
2 minutes, and thankful that the other dog, which is my dog, even though she caused half of the damage, she did the best that she could. She risked her life. She sacrificed herself to save mine, even though
Wow.
she ripped off half of my face as well.
Mm.
But if both of those dogs were on the same page, I wouldn't be here today.
Right.
And so even though I'm scared of pit bulls and I have nightmares about her and the other dog attacking me, I know why she did what she did. And I know that she did it out of love, even though she didn't she could have probably did it a little differently, but she did it out of love, and that love kept me alive a lot. And so I always look at the good in people than before I can judge the bad.
And knowing that these pit bulls were bred to attack, do you still see the why this happened, and kind of know that they're still innocent because it's not the pit bull, it's in fact it's a master who caused this?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
automatically. There's people who have been trying to get me to like join the bandwagon to like ban pit bulls nationwide, but I won't do that. I
Right.
can't I can't hate something that God made, and if it wasn't for that guy bringing that pit bull that used to be traumatized. I mean, that like kids aren't born into this world being being cruel,
Right.
hating other people. They learn that. These are
Mhm.
all learned behaviors. Some of it is genetic. There's genetic mental health conditions that we can all go through, that animals can go through, and that we can go through. Like dogs can be born with having traits of depression, or having Down syndrome, or having autism. I currently have a small dog that has traits of autism.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I didn't know either until I found out, but I don't hate them. I can't hate something
Right.
that God gave life to, and I can admire them. I would never have another pit bull, and I would never date anyone who has a pit bull because being around them just gives me too many flashbacks. But I can look at one from a distance and say, like, that's a cute dog. Like, that's a cute boy. He can be a good dog. She can be a good dog. She could be a great family dog, and she may never hurt kids. It's just the fact that people have been using those dogs, that particular breed, for over a couple of 100 years to just for violence. They were created for underground dog fighting. They were made in a lab for underground dog fighting. They weren't made to be this loving pet. They had a purpose when they were made. And a lot of them are born with great purpose, and they love and they care. And then there's people who use them for the reasons why that dog, that species of dog, of canine, was actually produced in the UK. And if you look it up, the UK banned pit bulls a long time ago because they were killing people.
Right.
They didn't like that. They banned them, and then now we have them, and we have this excessive problem where pit bulls are in the top fatality rates of dog maulings here in America.
Wow. So Joshua, if I'm in Florida and Georgia, I see a gecko climbing up the wall, or I'm here, my daughter sees a spider in the house. Dad, come and get this spider. I'm not the guy who's gonna kill it, right? I'm gonna scoop it in the cup. Even the spider, I'm gonna scoop it in the
Mhm,
cup and toss it outside. Now, Joshua, you got to be honest with me because I heard what you said. You know,
mhm,
these are these are these are God gave them life, right? Joshua, you see a roach climbing on your Admire wear hoodie. What do you do?
I'm sorry, he gotta go. He gotta go. Gotta go. I'm sorry. I gotta send him back where he came from. He gotta go back to a different realm. I gotta kill
Right?
it. Gotta kill it. But I wouldn't
Speak
do that. I wouldn't
Yeah,
do that unless I was defending my life against
exactly.
a dog that was attacking me. Like if a dog came and tried to attack me, more than likely I'm gonna run because I'm scared of it. But like
Right.
if I had the means, yeah, I would try to defend myself, and it would be my life over that dog's life.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Even if, if I saw someone getting attacked, I would do the best that I can to help them and go against my PTSD triggers, which would probably want me to flee from that. I would do the best
Right.
that I can to save that person's life because I know what it's like to go through that. I still remember what it's like to be bitten. Like if I touch a certain part of my face, I
Mhm.
can feel the teeth seeping into my skin all over again. It's
Oh,
muscle.
wow.
It's muscle memory.
Yeah.
The trauma that I've been through, but I wouldn't harm a dog unless I had to defend myself, and I wouldn't harm that. Well, I would. Okay, that roach gotta go. I'm sorry. You know what they could do. It
That
has
roach
to.
can go to the upper room real quick.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He gotta go. But a spider
Yeah.
can stay.
Yeah, spider can stay, yeah.
Centipedes creep me out, so he might gotta go too. He might go to the same place where the roach went. I'm sorry.
Hey, speaking of Admira, is that the logo I see over your shoulder right there?
Yeah, that's the logo.
Yeah, yeah.
There we
So,
go.
so tell us about it. Tell us about Admira.
Admire so I in 2020 I was in this domestic violence relationship, and it was my first love, high school sweetheart. But she just had a lot going on, a lot going on, and the way she dealt with anger was very internal, and she would also take it out on me. And
Mm,
because of how kind of a person I am, she kind of used that against me, and I kept a lot of secrets in the household because I grew up learning what stays in the house, what happens in the house stays in the house, but also that if you love someone, you should love them in sickness and in health. And I think of if you're going to use anger to harm someone, I think of that as a sickness.
right.
I think of that as a mental illness that I shouldn't abandon you because you're being this way. I should try to at least be there and support you if you want better and for you to do better. Now I was trying to fix and it didn't work out. But being in a domestic violence relationship, I mean, I was at the top of my life, I felt like. I
Mm,
was in college, finna graduate. I was a senior in college, great having all A's. I had a mechanic job that had a career path for me to like I could be long term as a bike mechanic for the bike bicycle ride share here in Chicago, Divvy Bikes. I had a car,
mhm.
and I was paying the bills for our apartment mostly. Like she was helping, but she had quit her job, and I was pretty much taking care of us. So I was doing what I was taught what men are supposed to do,
Right.
and I was providing emotionally and physically, but her anger definitely very like overwhelmed our relationship and overwhelmed how we was living in our apartment. I got jumped on really bad during Thanksgiving, and my mom finally saw the damage of that.
Mhm. By
Um,
her.
by
Right.
her for that, my mom came over to drop off some food, and she saw that I had a busted lip, and she told
Wow.
me like, this isn't for you. You deserve a lot more than that." And my mom had kind of always knew something, but like I didn't really tell her about it because I told her I got this. And it was a few days after Christmas we got into this it was this really bad altercation that got me really really hurt over some things that were said, and I left the apartment and tried to end my life in my car. I
Wow.
was speeding down Stony Island December 29th, 2020, speeding down Stony Island, going 70 miles an hour, starting from Hyde Park. So starting from what would that be, 60?
7th or Marquette or
Yeah, 67 in Marquette. Starting from
Mhm.
like where it starts, like Hyde Park High School. I
Right.
was zooming. I like ran like three red lights,
Wow.
and I was picking a light pole to crash my car into because I didn't want to hurt no one else. I didn't want to
Mhm.
crash into any other car. I didn't want to crash into any walking pedestrian. I
Right.
just didn't want to be here no more. I was like, man, I've spent my whole life fighting and surviving. I spent my whole life going against the abuse of my dad, going against the abuse of family, people on the outside, fighting for my rights in college, fighting like literally my whole entire life. And I finally get things that make me happy. And the
Mhm.
only place that has always been safe for me is where I lay my head at night. That's the
Wow.
place that didn't judge me. But now I'm getting my ass handed to me, literally. Where I lay my bed at, I mean where I lay my head at, getting kicked out of the bed onto the floor.
Mm.
because she had a bad dream and she felt like the dream was true. Going through things like that, I have to have surgery because of the abuse that I went through in that relationship. I have a permanently broken nose because of that.
Wow.
And I'm in my car driving and I'm just mad. I'm just like, I can't keep doing this. I'm 21 years old and you guys want me to live until I'm 80. I don't want to keep fighting for so long. I'm tired. Like, I'm really, really tired of surviving, of
Yeah.
fighting. And I swerved my car 3 times and the car just kept going straight. And I was just like, damn it. I was like, that I guess that means that God wants me to stay here.
That's right.
And after the third time, I was like, well, if it didn't happen, then I did the next best thing. And I wanted a drink. I knew if I would have got that drink, I would have became a abusive alcoholic like my dad. We
Right.
looked the same way. We built the same way. We have the same genetics. So I went to go see him. And seeing him, we talked about it because my mom and my dad, my dad would do a lot of physical harm to my mom and to us when we were growing up. But now as an
Mhm.
adult, we can have these conversations without enduring more harm.
Right.
And I went and told him, and he told me how it wasn't worth it. But he also had a certain mindset that I didn't also agree with.
Okay.
And he set a bottle of Jameson in between us and said, if you want a shot, you should take it. He was like, real men don't cry, but that's how you get over your problems. You take a shot, you get over your problems. Even though he knew that I was there to
Right.
avoid having a drink, he still set
Mm.
it there for me. And luckily, I just kept sitting on my Gatorade, sipping on my Gatorade.
Mm.
When I saw my mom, told my mom, she said I can come back home. Uh, And the next week, I checked myself into counseling. I used the rest of my savings. I moved out of the apartment. I took the rent money that I usually use for the apartment. I used that to fund my counseling.
Mhm.
And I went and got myself some help because I had always had it. Told myself after I was 16 that I was like, okay, if we have another suicide attempt, you need to check yourself into counseling within 48 hours. That
Right.
should be a rule to keep myself alive. Check yourself into counseling and do the things that you need to do to take care of yourself because we can't keep doing this. And that's what I would tell myself. We can't keep doing this. And in that recovery, I learned about the power of affirmations
Mm.
and how powerful they can be. And it wasn't until March, so March 2021, a few months after my suicide attempt, I'm coming home from work. I got a work related injury. I messed up my foot. My back was already hurting. I'm starting to have panic attacks because I'm coming off of the just like processing the trauma that I went through in that relationship.
Right.
I'm starting to have these panic attacks that I'm like never knew that like I could have before, and I'm also having breathing problems because I'm still going through the physical damages of that relationship
Mhm.
alongside pre-existing medical conditions that I've already had in my respiratory system.
Right.
So now I'm really going through it. And I came home and I have this mirror in my mom's house where I've been bullying myself since I was a kid, where I sit there and I bully myself and I kind of reiterate all of the crazy stuff that I've heard people tell me. And I
Wow.
sit there in that mirror and I used to sit there and believe it.
Mhm.
And this particular day, I stood there and I said, I admire you for not giving up
Wow.
and that we got this. And that's all I said. And I just stood there for 30 minutes, just looking at myself in the mirror, looking like total garbage, got tears coming out, boogers coming out my face. I haven't took care of my hair in a while. So I'm wearing a do-rag. I'm limping around the house because my foot hurt. And I sat there and gave myself love. And I realized that out of all of these years that I've been surviving and helping others and being around, like I've been helping others since before the accident and being there for others and doing for others and putting my life on the line to defend others and being there. It's like I don't think I've ever really given myself love. The
Yeah.
same love that I give out, I don't think I've ever really given it to myself. I've only gotten that from what other people validate. I've seen other people's validation be a source of love for me. So a few days later, I was like, you know what? I want to I want to see if I can use this to help others who are also going through it.
Yeah.
I know I'm not the only one who's going through suicidal thoughts. I'm not the only one who had a suicide attempt that day. Mine was unsuccessful, and I thank God for it being unsuccessful. There's a lot of people who did lose their lives that particular day. And it's like, if I can use my journey from suicide and from all of these traumas that I've been through, from being a domestic violence survivor, from being a survivor of growing up in a domestic violence household, from being like going through child abuse from my father, going through the bullying, going through racism that I dealt with around this country, going through all the traumas that I can list up and down the road at a young age. I was like, if anyone else has been in these shoes and been through the exact same thing, they wouldn't be alive. They
Yeah.
wouldn't have made it through. But obviously, I'm still here. And that's something worth talking about.
Wow.
And I started drafting the plans for Admira, which originally was just like making wristbands and selling wristbands,
Hmm.
and taught and saying, "I admire you," having people say that they admire themselves for them being them and for them making through 100% of their bad days. You made it through every single day of your life. If you didn't, you wouldn't be here. You made it through every single day, whether you like it or not. You made it through 100% of your life because you're
Wow.
still here. And showing people that is like the crutch of how Admire started and how it slowly ended up being this brand that this community that I built into being this love-based brand and community that focuses on mental health awareness and suicide prevention, and understanding that this might be a hard chapter in your life. This might be a long, rough road, but life is full of roller coasters. Life is a roller coaster, whether we like it or not. We're screaming, we're yelling, we're going through ups and downs, twists and turns. But it doesn't stop there from being another chapter awaiting for you to write the page in it. It doesn't like there's a new page awaiting for you to flip the page and for you to start writing. Instead of closing the book, because suicide is a permanent solution to a temporary problem.
Yeah.
But if we can work on it, we can heal, we can talk about it, we can have affirmations that remind us of our purpose, that remind us that we're not alone, that remind us that there's people out there also feeling the exact same way as you, even though they don't have the same experience as you. They're
Yeah.
feeling similar pains. It motivates you, it motivates me to just be like, all right, well, I don't know if I can promise you another week, but I can promise you tomorrow. I can promise you that I'm gonna go to sleep, and if God wakes me up in the morning, I'm gonna try again one more day. And I'm gonna keep trying again. And I'm gonna keep trying at life until I feel content with what's going on.
I love that. You know, you keep saying this word that sticks with me, community. And when I think of my younger self, I would say if I could say something to myself, I would say that, Rick, you're not a man on an island. Rick, give yourself some grace.
Hmm.
Rick, allow in the people who truly have your best interest at heart. What would you say to your younger self if you could? I know you've done it already, but share with us what you had to say to your younger self.
I really love that you brought that up. Talking to your younger self, I think we need to comfort our inner child a lot, because a lot of them are still hurting or still going through something. There's things that like maybe even we react to that might be because of what we went through as a kid. We're scared. Anger is kind of a reaction to being scared, being afraid.
Right.
But I would tell my younger self that I'm sorry for what's coming ahead, and I know that people are going to say that you're strong enough to get through it, and you are going to make it through it. But I need you to take the time that you need to rest, to take care of yourself, to be kind to your mind, because you do have a long road awaiting you, but it's so worth it. It might not seem worth it. It might not seem worth it for a couple of years, for a couple of months. You may want to give up, but I can tell you this, that like you're strong enough, and the people around you, the close people around you, are strong enough to help you stay strong and to get through those challenges. And it's worth it. It's worth every teardrop of it. Even if you can't cry no more, it's okay to cry. It's okay to be human. And it's okay to have a bad day. And you're going to have a lot of bad days ahead, but just know that you're not alone in those. And
Yeah.
you got this.
Man, you're truly an inspiration and such a beautiful person, bro. I'm happy I met you. Truly happy I met you. Um,
Thank you.
Admireware. Tell us where we can find it. How we can support you. All of it. And I want to have you back, man. I mean, this is
Yeah.
this is great conversations.
No, definitely. I would love to come back often. Admira, you can find Admira on Instagram at ADMIREWEAR underscore on Instagram, or just Admira on TikTok, and that's without the underscore. Or you can go to ADMIREWEAR.com. You can go there and buy affordable merch. I work my hardest to make sure that everything is affordable, that it still works out for for me being able to stay in production here in my warehouse, my small warehouse space where it's just me. I produce pretty much almost everything by myself here in house. I print the graphics here. I put the graphics together here. I design everything myself. I do the embroidery myself here in shop. I make the stickers. I make the bottles. The mouse pads are here. And really just know like this is a community of love, support, and admiration. So if you're on your uphill of your journey or on your downhill, you still need motivation. You still need something to remind you why you're fighting the way that you're fighting. Like it's a hard life right now in this world, and we need those reminders. We need those acts of love and care. And I also donate when I can. Like right now, I'm going through a hard struggle with some of my machines here in shop, and I'm
Mhm.
coming out of that financial hurdle. But I donate 15% of my proceeds to nonprofit organizations that focus on providing mental health resources to those who are in crisis, because I care about giving back. I even put a stash away to the side to help those out who do reach out, who are in crisis and may not be able to afford it.
Mhm.
Give them a free hoodie or give them a free T-shirt, because I know that can go a long way to saving a life. Even if it's for you buying it for your loved one, you buying it for yourself, or you buying it for your kids. Um, it will. I've seen it. I've seen the love. It will help, and it will be there on days where you may not love yourself. They give you the hug and the love of thousands of people who love and support this community, like die-heartedly love and support this community. They're hugging you every time you're wearing that apparel or you're drinking from that bottle. They're with you in your journey, and you're not alone.
I love it, man. You've dropped so many gems with us today. Before you got out of here,
Yeah.
a quick mantra or a quote that you live by that can go a long ways with everyone else.
A quote that I live by is that I know that life is short.
Hmm.
And so I live every day like it's my last.
God.
I live every single day as if it's my last. If I wake up in the morning and I feel like crap, I feel like $20 bill, I'm gonna give you 120% of that $20 bill. And
Wow.
if I wake up feeling like $100 bill or $1 million bucks, I'm gonna give you 120% of that, because I might not be here tomorrow. Like I might not wake up in the morning, but I need that legacy. I need that impact to carry forward. So if I'm feeling bad, I'm still gonna try my best to act moments of kindness, because I know that kindness can go a long way. Smiling at a random stranger can help brighten their day. Someone smiling at me once upon a time, I was going through a really crappy time. Them smiling at me made my whole day.
Wow.
So living each and every day as if it's my last, putting my best foot forward, even if I feel like that foot got injuries, that foot got bandages on it, that shoes got holes in it, they might be run down, raggedy shoes. I'm going to still run that marathon each and every day that my eyes open till when my eyes go to sleep. And that's that mantra that I live by. Live
Wow.
every day like it's my last.
Rick Party, party, party. Woo!